This is episode 19 with Anita Darden Gardyne.
So let's go, I'll follow, wherever you go, 'cause
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Invention Show, a podcast about all things invention and reinvention, where entrepreneurs, leaders and authorities in the field today share their story of triumphs and challenges in both life and business. My name is Tacklee, entrepreneur, investor, inventor, and the host of this show. Now, today I'm honored to have a special guest with an incredible story to match. Anita Darden Gardyne, a technology business visionary and award-winning businesswoman on a mission to extend women's careers, close the pay equity gap, and create thousands of living wage jobs through her role as CEO and chairman of the Board of Onēva, which she founded. Now, she's also a winner of numerous tech awards and a true innovator, trendsetter, and trailblazer with a passion. Simply mind-changing, life-changing, and business-changing. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Anita, and thanks so much for being with us.
Oh my gosh, Tack, after that introduction, I want to meet you. You are too kind. I'm humbled, I'm honored, I'm grateful, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share and to learn from you, entrepreneur to entrepreneur. Everything you said, I heard investors, so that means I got to pitch you while I'm here. Something about, right, the CEO in me that never goes away.
No, you're most welcome, Anita. You're most welcome. The honor is mine. Now, the first thing I'd like to ask all my guests, for those who are not too familiar with yourself, is can you please give us a window into your background and what was your first job?
Well, my first job, right out of high school, I went to AT&T. I worked in the engineering department. I'm very fortunate, having been born in an era where there were programs designed to create folks like me. One of them was called Math, Engineering, Science Achievement. It's called MESA. And because of my participation, I literally graduated on a Friday from in my childhood home, about 6 blocks away. And that Monday, I showed up in the engineering department. And boy, did I learn a lot about work and technology. And boy, I learned a lot.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, as you mentioned, you started your career in the corporate world, and held, positions such as, CFO of Seagate. How did your passion for startups, begin? And have you always been entrepreneurial?
Always been entrepreneurial. Mm-hmm. And it was our third startup. I found it with my husband of 34 years, my co-founder. Yep. Have always wanted to be a big fish in a big pond. And, right out of college, my husband and I met at UC Berkeley as students in the 80s. And we were also interns in the tech department at Bank of America. So he went the small company startup route and was successful, enjoyed multiple exits. I went the big company route and entered AT&T in its executive training program after I finished. So it was exciting to start entry level out of high school and then join as an executive within a number of years, about 7 years. So that was pretty exciting for me to have that experience. But it all started from wanting to be an entrepreneur. As in a relationship, typically there are things that we do sometimes to accommodate our husband's careers. And in my case, he was allowed to go and enjoy 3X. And I did go work for some bigger companies, which was awesome. And I had a great set of experiences. But my personal passion has always been as an entrepreneur. And I'm finally able to live it in its most authentic form. And you can't imagine how exciting that is for me to finally be able to achieve that.
Yeah, most definitely. Love it. Absolutely love it. Now, I want to talk about Onēva, Anita, a technology platform that matches FBI background checked in-home care providers with their employees. Now, totally love how, it's in a growing evergreen market. Can you please, share the story behind Onēva and what inspired the launch? Or how'd you get into it?
It came to me in this very room. I was about 15 or 16 in the late 70s. And my mom said, you have two choices. You can this was my bedroom before she knocked out a wall. She said, you have two choices, either learn how to clean your room or pay somebody. So I did what any future entrepreneur would do. I went to Dad and said, increase in allowance and started to pay my mom to clean my room.
Love it,
Just,
love it.
just never told Dad.
Yep.
So, historically, I mean, think about for me and my history, I'm a descendant of slaves here in America. And there was a time when folks who looked like me couldn't stay in hotels, yet needed to travel. That was called Airbnb before this. So, the notion of having folks to come in and provide that trusted care so families can function and operate is a standing tradition, and it's within our history. And as a student of history, I could see in front of me this baby boom, massive age group that's going to be retiring at the rate of 10,000 a day. Yeah. But so it certainly hit me from the academic perspective, but it hit me in my real life when, after having my second child, thinking about returning to the workforce, and my parents were aging. And I needed to have trusted care to help me not only with, one, now two kids and my aging parents, and to have a home. And as a woman, we sometimes make sacrifices and along those, not only providing care or our careers potentially taking a back seat sometimes, so that our husbands can thrive. But it was certainly an aha moment for me that my career, my ability to earn income, my ability to contribute to the world was absolutely minimized by my ability to have access to care. So, there's somebody here with my mom. She's 86, so I can be here with you.
No, totally awesome. And I must say, it's sort of like a growing need down here in Melbourne, Australia as well, just in Australia as a whole. Now, I believe you also collaborated, with Microsoft, to build the Onēva technology platform. I mean, how did that come about? Is it from your connection, like past connections?
It is actually Reverend Jesse Jackson, if you've heard of him.
Oh, yes, I've heard. Yep.
He's he came to Silicon Valley in 2014, and he believed that innovation and exceptionalism can happen anywhere. So he went and made a series of introductions between me and companies, including Microsoft, Treasurer George Zinn, and gave him a PowerPoint of our consumer technology platform that was in operation, and shared our plan on how to grow it to be a global technology platform. Yeah. What you're experiencing in Australia is being experienced in Europe and in Japan and in every, so many parts of the world. So we're excited that Fred Teal, who is the general manager in benefits and mobility at Microsoft, saw that PowerPoint and very day has collaborated with me to design not only Onēva 1.0, which was the technology platform that we built. We won TechCrunch Battlefield Silver with it. We used it to launch 3,000 Microsoft employees, and with his guidance have put into market Onēva 2.0, which meets true enterprise needs for security, privacy, and for a global provider company. But it all came through Reverend Jesse Jackson and his decision to make that introduction to George, and George's willingness to take that message back to Fred. I got to give him all the credit as a former CFO to have a guy sitting in staff and HR figure out a way to turn his business into a profit center, by creating this technology platform that's revenue generating. I think he's a mastermind. He didn't put a penny into it, but just his mentorship, his guidance. They also assigned a gentleman by the name of Fernando Hernandez as a senior advisor in 2018. So he helped build my sales pipeline with large who are interested in the technology. So we're blessed to have been contacted by Intel, for example, that was their HR, who asked us to, again, redesign our consumer platform. So who better than Microsoft to build it?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah. Can I introduce you to some of our friends who are also in the tech space? They work in a group called Tech_Scale, formerly called TIG, and by Oracle and Apple. Again, two awesome companies to be working since 2015. There were 32 companies who participated in that organization, who've all gotten to see our technology grow, to see our pipeline grow, and to get us as a team. And as you know, do business with who they know, like, and trust.
Yes.
Now that the tech's reached the market, now that the timing is right, so much of it is luck. But to have a team like Microsoft support you, We are participants in their fast track program, which means their network security engineers have been involved in the technology stack. Yeah. So we have to start paying for the cloud soon. We're graduating Microsoft startups.
Yeah.
But, we're out in market, we're adding customers, and we're growing. So
amazing.
It's just fortunate, just blessed to be in the right place at the right time with folks who are committed to seeing change in the ecosystem here in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, totally amazing there, Anita. I love it. Now, through my readings on yourself and the Onēva journey, Anita, I believe you managed to raise more than $1 million, in equity financing early on, and beat out, more than 100 companies to win the Best Startup Silicon Valley 2015. I mean, why do you think Onēva has been so successful? I mean, why do you think you have been so successful? I mean, I'm sure as an entrepreneur, it hasn't been all rainbows and unicorns.
No, and if you say that, I would start by saying success is in the eye of the beholder. I would consider myself successful when those folks who believed in me, Fred at Microsoft, all those investors who put over $3 million into me, and at this point to watch us big and grow to that multi-billion-dollar exit. Yeah. I owe them that, but most fundamentally, I owe all the families who deserve access to trusted care, access to trusted care. You probably say I'm a horrible entrepreneur. Don't get me wrong. I love money as much as the next guy.
Hey,
about just how do you give folks trusted care so we can live, forget COVID. The world's aging. Young people are having to care for themselves. We have family members with special needs. Niece and nephew who were born in the 70s who are autistic, and they range from fully functioning to not very. So we've been providing care as a family for decades. And, with the rise of things like autism, we can see what the future looks like for certain families. So, it's with that experience and again, I just needed to take care of my family so I could go to work. And, I don't know. I probably didn't even answer your question. But
no, you did.
About giving the care. It's just about giving folks choices, and we don't have to be broke. My dad died in this very home and had folks helping him, and this is what he wanted to do and where he wanted to be. And other homes are expensive, and we all learned lots of things. I think from those families who did have elders and live in facilities as COVID hit. I think a lot of families are revisiting those decisions, and we just want to be another option. And we want to make sure the caregivers get a living rate. Most, at least in this country, look like me and earn on average, I think, $11.82. Wow. So if I work for the county here where I sit in Silicon Valley, I can earn $13 an hour, and that's simply not sustainable. You can't live with that, and you can't. You question, why do so many caregivers turn over? Why do they not show up for work? Well, they probably can't afford to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we again, creating trusted care in the homes of employees, companies like Microsoft, like Dishcraft Products, like Police Insurance, they can pay a living rate. And in turn, there's absolutely an opportunity and a role for the employer to help contribute to that, just as they contribute to medical, to dental. A right to care is human. And we are in the world, especially whether you work at home. Can you imagine those folks who have to be at work?
Yeah.
Kids in school 2 days a week. So that's where my passion is. That's
awesome.
Connect that and solve that problem. The rest will follow. And I continue to be shocked, as you started you shared at the start. This is a global problem.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And we've been at this for almost 7 years. Thank God nobody else jumped in to tackle this market. This is a massive, multi-trillion-dollar market.
It is. Yep.
And you do wonder where's everybody at?
They're waiting for you, Anita. They're waiting for you.
Well, you were kind to say that. It's just, so many families have the need. That's all.
Yes,
right?
no, I agree.
Yeah.
So what is your advice, or tips for startups looking to raise, I guess, capital and possibly, attract corporate partners?
Well, two different things. For me, I have not been successful in getting traditional Silicon Valley investment. What I have raised primarily is through friends and family. So the 3 million I've raised is from folks who I've met. You always start out with those who are you closest of all, and fortunately, in our case, they got the worst deal. If you go back and you look at expected ROEs, but that's what they get for trusting you. But we actually raise money in something called a convertible note and a little bit of a safe note. So convertible note is debt, and unless we had an event occur, we an exit event and/or raised our Series A. It was a debt instrument, and it was an easy way for us to raise money. You don't have to wait for all the cash to come in to spend it. Which matters if you're an entrepreneur and you're just, and enough to keep the engine going. If you do some of the more structured instruments, and you never want to just give away equity, right? Out of the gate, I do meet many founders who'll say, "Oh, I found this person and I gave them a
percentage,
And you go, but what are they doing for it? We've got a great team surrounding us. Chris Yang, father of blitzscaling, Silicon Valley hot VC, is my right hand. He's got to work. He's on speed dial. He's out raising money right now. I'm not. He's got to work to be able to get whatever he gets from Onēva. So I just would caution folks when you raise money about retaining equity. There are other ways to raise money where you don't give up so much and take that time where your business is going to go, and you swap it out. Believe me, when the Chris Yeas of the world see a lot of value and they see dollar signs, they'll renegotiate. They'll let you know when it's time. And it wasn't a pleasant experience, but thank you, Chris. But but just don't give away so much. But start with folks who know you. Hit them up for cash. Cheap. I am the queen of free. Because it's been challenging to raise money. Yes, I am the 11th Black female in U.S. history to raise $1 million.
Yeah, I read that. Yep.
But that's horrible, right? I think numbers are maybe in the 70s, which is awesome, right? Let's talk about progress. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Certainly we all would want to see more in that regard. But there's so many crowdfunding. I did that as well as a way to raise funds for folks who look like me and to gain access to capital. It worked. And we used a WeFunder campaign, and that allowed us to grow some funds. We even did a Kiva campaign where we took $1,000 in at 0% interest. We did what we needed to do to get to the point where we could pursue Series A funding for us.
Awesome.
And it's been a challenge.
Yeah, take note of that one, listeners and viewers. Now, moving on to your journey, as an entrepreneur, Anita, I'm really fascinated, as all entrepreneurs know it can sometimes be a lonely journey. So how can you manage, or how do you manage risk and fear?
Risk, again, the former CFO in me, I'm more comfortable with de-risking my business, and that's how I got it. Every dollar I get, how do I de-risk my opportunity and increase my likelihood of outcome? The one thing I haven't successfully wrapped my head around is just that absolute fear that, you have in the middle of the night when you're going, I know my mortgage is due tomorrow and I don't know how it's going to get paid, but somebody's going to come through. And it happened for like years where we were just, family members would just step in and help. So, we were just really, really blessed in that regard. So the fear of making bigger decisions with less information faster is scary. The fear of who do you trust, especially when you have the hope of, a multi-billion-dollar exit within a couple of years. Who's in your circle?
Yes.
Who you trust? Why they're in your circle? Is this the right business partner? All those things for me, I live as fear. And I have a lot of fear of media. So doing interviews.
You're doing awesome.
It's tough. Well, this is the picture. The lady in the red is my mom years ago.
Okay.
We had a trial with O.J. Simpson, and my big brother Chris was the prosecutor.
Okay.
Clark, and that was just a tough experience. And
Okay.
you know, as a family, we learned to interact with media, and it was mostly to run and hide.
Okay.
So thank you for being gentle, and you know,
It's all good. It's all good.
allowing me this moment.
Indeed. Awesome. Now, can you please share what is your biggest area of growth?
Wow, as a founder, as a mom, wife, as a founder. You know, again, I'll go back to Chris Ye. He taught me early on that I was an unstoppable force, and no wave could topple me.
Oh, powerful.
And then he taught me that I could lift the sky. And once I saw that I could do that, saw everything clearly, and it's been a matter of execution. For us, we had the end defined at the start. So when we go back and look at the strategic plan, our values, what we thought would be important to the customer, what would be important to an investor, all those things are still 100% lined up. And we founded in 2014, and we could not have forecast COVID. We could not have forecast the world to be as it is. We certainly could not have forecast that Microsoft would come to us and say, if you can build a technology platform that meets our needs, we think you're good to go out and bring on some other companies. So, you know, we just feel very fortunate in that regard. But that's been the biggest area for me.
Okay. Awesome. Now, the next sort of question sort of follows up on that a little bit, I guess, Anita. You know, I want to talk about turning point or points. You know, when you look back at your entire life, you know, everything that you have, your journey, Onēva, can you pinpoint, you know, a point that changed everything for you, or is it more of like a collection of moments?
For me, at age 15, I got to go to a program at UC Berkeley called EP, and it was a program that exposed kids like me to engineering, to science. I took an economics course and fell in love with it. My professor, Dr. Tom McCullough, is an investor in my company, an advisor in my company. This was 1978 when I met him. I'm 58 now. And I didn't know what an MBA was in 1978. But and before computers, so I know this, you guys won't remember, there was a time before computers. You'd have to walk around UC Berkeley's campus and they'd tape things to the wall where they would show job opportunities for Haas MBA graduates. And I'm looking at these jobs going, wow, this sounds exciting. They were all over the world. They were marketing. It was finance. It was in real estate, technology, investment banking. You know, I knew doctor, nurse, you know, police officer. And it was just such a wonderful opportunity to be exposed to a whole new world. For studying economics, I learned about disparities, economic disparities. And again, that desire to create living rate jobs for folks. I learned about how cities were designed, and that it was designed to limit certain folks. Railroad tracks are set sometimes for a reason. So I got to it exposed me to so much. It put me on a path and on a trajectory that I never would have imagined, right? I never would have imagined, but I couldn't be happier to be here.
No, awesome. Now, as a mum of two, Anita, you know, what values do you think are important for kids these days? I mean, I've got two little ones, 4 and 7. So, you know, to give them the competitive edge, what would you say?
Oh my gosh, my kids are so much more awesome than I am. And aren't you blessed to have two? You know, for us, one, you gotta let them be who they are. To some, they come here with a personality, and it's just gonna unfold. And as a mom and dad, all you can do is go, whoa, right? You know, and you love them the way they are. And for us, we are huge supporters, champions of education. So we feel strongly about, you know, just do your best in school. We don't think it should rule your life. And, you know, parents who are, you know, certainly type A, but we certainly have an expectation. I mean, look at the wall behind me, right? You walk in the home, home and the first thing you're seeing is, okay, I got to graduate from where, you know, and that certainly is an expectation that you are going to become educated, but that means life learner. You don't have a diploma. You don't have to, the best lessons I learned sometimes are just sitting in the chair of an entrepreneur who's been doing hair for 50 years and they drop a piece of knowledge. So, we try and teach our kids to just be passionate about learning, finding it where it is. Doesn't always come at school, doesn't always come in a textbook, but take it and bring it into your life and make it better. That's pretty much. See, I don't argue with them about religion. I get it. No, they are, pretty independent-minded kids, as I'm sure yours
good.
are.
Yeah. No, they aren't. These days they are, I think.
And they have technology, and they know how to use it better.
Yes. Now, Anita, co-founder of Onēva, Bob, happens to be your husband as well. How do you balance being both life and business partners?
Boy, talk about where I could really do better, and a great question is, that's challenging. I'm not very good with boundaries. Some of that comes from when you're CEO and he's head of product, head of technology. We have 18 other jobs that we do. So for us, once we made a decision to remarket our revenue producing consumer platform to an enterprise space, that meant we shut off revenue, and it was a long march across the desert in terms of the technology build and trying to raise money on a hope. So that meant we did a lot of jobs and we worked on a string. So we're excited again with releasing 2.0, having funds, and we were able to hire staff. And that's been able to allow us to create more boundaries. There's somebody else's job that's sales. There's somebody else's job that's marketing. There's somebody else's job that's HR. So anyway, it's allowed me to start to create boundaries. And it's been a challenge because I do love to work. And that really comes through. If I had my way, I would probably work till 2 a.m., 6 days a week and sleep till 10. But, but I do love to work. And, when it's particularly financially challenging, it's great that your best friend is your partner, is your husband, because there's nobody who can, experience it like you can. And he has had the benefit of 3 exits. So he's gotten to see it from a work perspective, and he brings a lot of comfort and grounding to me. Between the two of us, he's definitely the more grounded one, and I'm the one who's flying around the moon going, hey, I got this idea. What do you think?
Come back, pull you back.
Yeah. That's kind of how our marriage works.
Awesome. Love it. Now, Anita, what makes you feel inspired or like your best self? I mean, how do you be the best that you can be?
Again, it's really hard just being authentic, just being who you are, letting it show with you, with your audience, and my product, with my customers. Easy to do because you heard me talk about how I love to hide and how I like to shy, and I like to build. I like to build technology. I have 2 patents. I like talking about that. I'm learning as a CEO that I get to talk to amazing folks like you, Tat, as a way to be better and help me grow my business and, help me be more comfortable in my skin. So I think that, I'll confess, I really don't have a role model, right? There's no, I'm looking for the Gates exit, I'm looking to leave as CEO chairman and with quite a bit of my company. And a lot of folks who've necessarily done that. I've certainly seen Oprah do it. We've gotten a few Lee do it. But I'm the only one here in Silicon Valley. With a startup
and you're doing it. Yes.
Well, thank you again. Success is in the eye of the beholder. My feet are moving. We're making progress. We're doing all the right things. So I'm excited at the hope. But I would just love to see more folks and continue to have more role models. We are seeing more women as well. I'm excited to see that. And again, I'm proof anything that success exists here, it means it exists in Kansas, it exists in Australia, it exists in Africa, it exists all over the globe.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would love to see us shine more lights. You know, it seems very focused sometimes in certain parts of Silicon Valley. And I'm a product of Silicon Valley. I've lived here my entire life. It's all I know. So it's just exciting to see that happening, right? And to see more of that change.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Now, Anita, in I'll say unique times like this, what is your advice or message for our listeners? You know, we have an audience from over 90 countries. I mean, what should people, entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, be doing right now so they can be in the game and come out, you know, on the personal side, also a better person?
Wow, man, you go deep.
No, I just like to pry some, you know, the knowledge, the wisdom that you have, you know, Anita.
Oh my God! If I had wisdom, you know, again, for me, I'm very grounded in family, right? You know, we're still we live in two homes. I live in my home. I still have a kid in school in the grade. And my mom's here and my kids, and we move back and forth. So I'm very grounded in family, as many of us are right now during the lockdown. It is a blessing, right? Every cloud has a silver lining.
That's true, yes.
I am getting to connect with my daughter, who in 2 years is going to be away at college. So, and she's getting to see even more of this and what I do and my connection with you. So for me, it's really... you know, I just have one life. It's, you know, the kids, the family, business, it all spreads. It's all melded. Even the caregiver that I talk about, everything has to fit. And that's the way we know how to roll out, right? And manage this. So I think the opportunity for families is just get close to those who you are with. Family is not defined by DNA.
Yes, agreed.
Don't know who our family is. You know, have that family close and really build out those connections. We, just like every other family, are very mindful as we expand our circle of trust and who we are into our family. We've always been that way. Again, there's some history, you know, whereas a family, you learn to, you know, build a little bit of a wall and be mindful about who you bring into that. So those are the lessons that I've learned that certainly have helped carry me forward during this very horrible time of COVID, as we are returning to not lockdowns here in the San Francisco Bay Area, but we certainly are a little more careful and restricted than we have been in a recent time frame. And it's truly difficult for a lot of us to be so enclosed. It has effects on us mentally, on us physically. And we are really learning to listen to each other and pay attention to each other. And it's those nonverbals.
No,
so
agreed.
I continue to be amazed. I haven't been voted off the island. So that's, you know, but COVID is real. It's a part of our new normal, and we don't know what it's going to be like, but our families are going to be there no matter what. And we have to learn, you know, in my mind, have to learn to depend on each other in different ways than we ever had to before. But again, we're back to aging. We're back to how do we bring care to families that have all these responsibilities to care for one another. And a lot of the traditional systems globally are unavailable. And we don't know what a return to them looks like. That's the part where I go, man, you turn inwards, turn to those, the family you have, cherish it. I don't know. Was that okay?
No. 100%.
Oh, thank you. Because I'm like, man, well, you making me think. Wow, this woman has some deep knowledge to share. But
you do. Now,
thank you.
Just got a couple more questions before we wrap up, Anita. You know, what is your legacy? I mean, what do you want to be remembered for?
Bringing trusted care to the world, solving a problem that I would call a BFO, a blinding flash of the obvious.
Love that one. Yeah.
One thing, and it is kind to you to say the world was waiting for me to bring the solution, and I absolutely am going to hear that, and I'm going to own it because it's true.
Mm.
But this is the biggest problem that exists in every country and every continent. And it strikes me, at least here in, Silicon Valley, this was largely perceived as a woman's issue. And therefore it didn't warrant or the attention that it deserved. And to minimize it as a woman's issue is to completely misdiagnose, misunderstand it from the start, because there's so many men like you who I'm sure are providing great care to those two wonderful children. You probably are blessed to be homeschooling right now. Yeah. And it's not just a woman's problem. And you may not have siblings or parents or an uncle who just had back surgery. You just never know. So it is a little bit disappointing that from a global perspective, that wasn't resolved, shall we say, before. Yeah. Just think about the race for COVID vaccine.
Yes.
You've got countries all over the world, probably hundreds of them, ready to go. And you're going, here's the multi-trillion-dollar global market.
Yeah.
You need trusted care. And I keep saying trusted because you got to know the identity of who's in your home.
Yes.
Our biggest differentiators is we just start with a government issue ID so we can, with a human, and say it's really you. And then we do have an FBI background check done and things. But every family wants that, whether it's the repairman who's going to come into your home, work on the dryer, and walk by your kid's bedroom. Certainly the person who's going to be there changing their diaper, fixing their food.
Yeah, definitely.
For us, in the world in which we live, it just, again, it's a BFO. And I'm excited that nobody else responded, and we took the time to build the technology that meets the needs, again, with enterprise-grade security, complying with European privacy standards. Nobody should know that, grandma's being taken to oncology, or be able to, the caregiver should earn a living rate and get paid and know that the funds are going to be there. Again, it just seems like, on the one hand, I go, awesome, yay me, but come on, guys, gals. Let's make this one happen, and we can help so many families. So if nothing else, I'm going to hope that by just focusing on the problem, and there's some lessons to be learned here as well, from folks who didn't pay attention. Hopefully they'll start to notice some more of these issues that may be considered women's issues reason. There's sometimes folks like me who can produce what's considered an African American solution. I can do Black media or a Black hair care product. My products just care, and it's really quite universal, and it's intended for anybody. It's non-discriminatory.
So, agree.
It's a little bit counter, to world works. So,
awesome.
Well, no, that's me. But remember, I'm tied.
I love it. I'm letting you fly. Anita.
Thank you.
Now, if you can have a billboard with anything on it, Anita, what would it be? What would it say? BFO?
Oh my gosh, a billboard. That is a very good one. Can it have Wonder Woman on it? I just love it.
Yes, you can have anything you like.
The power, the excitement. Being able to do anything, do it all. But absolutely, it's back to empowering people, and recognizing that BFOs exist everywhere, and let's go out and find them. That's what smart money does. Smart money chases great ideas. And smart money doesn't pay attention to packages. It doesn't pay attention to silly things like gender. It looks at markets. It looks at products. And I hope, in one of the sayings that I'll hear here in Silicon Valley is you invest in the jockey, right?
Yes.
So it's the jockey. What were you using to make those evaluation decisions around? Maybe we need to revisit what that criteria was, because we keep missing out on some things. So, it's about changing the world and teaching lessons.
Awesome. Now, the next question, Anita, I ask all my guests, and it's, I love the answers that come back. And the question is, what superpower do you wish you had, and why?
Oh my gosh. If I could have been the one to destroy Thanos and it would have
I love that movie.
I do too. I do too. I've always been a huge superhero fan. Boy, if I had a superpower, okay, I want to be invisible. I want to be invisible.
Nice.
I just want to be in the room. I just want to listen. I guess that's Harry Potter, right? I want the cloak.
Yep.
Yeah. I could do that. I think that would be pretty cool, just to be the fly on the wall and hear what really happens with the conversations that goes on in rooms, and that includes hearing from my customers. I want what is it that keeps you up? How is it that we can do better to help you find more work-life balance? And again, I got a teenager. You've got young ones. You wait until they're old. You're gonna be at the door with a glass, talking to a boy.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Oh yeah, love it.
So, yeah, that would be pretty cool though. That's kind of a selfish one, but that's okay.
That's cool. No, love it. No, totally remarkable, Anita. Unfortunately, we have to work towards wrapping up, and super mindful of your time. Phenomenal journey and shares. Really appreciate your authenticity and willingness to share. Just have two final questions. First, where can people find out, more about yourself and Onēva?
Absolutely. You can find me at my website, www.onēva.com, and that's spelled Oneva.
Awesome. I'll put that in the show notes for our listeners and viewers. And secondly, what parting words of wisdom would you like to leave for our listeners and viewers?
Oh my gosh. I would say follow your passion, follow your dream. As long as your feet are moving. I love football as well. I'm a huge San Francisco 49er fan. If you've got the ball and you're running, keep the feet moving. The end zone is always there. Sometimes you have to go left, sometimes right, sometimes you got to go backwards.
Yeah.
But as long as the feet are moving, you're in the game, and never give up, never surrender. Galaxy Quest. I live everything I know about business I learned from movies and television. But really, when you got the right idea, you know it. You know you got the burn in your heart, and you've got all those others around you who are validating. That's the zone, and you're carrying that true unicorn ball. Make it happen, and the world and luck and everything, will present itself, and do it for free. Right? Never pay for it. There's so many things that are out there for free. Just don't give away equity. Just, always think creatively of how can I get this done with no money. And that creativity not only is going to get you your goal, but it's going to inspire your team around you to go, wow, that's some crazy superhero stuff.
Yeah.
So thank you for allowing me to share and the time.
I love it.
You are truly impressive, and your questioning are inspiring. And
thank you so much. Yeah.
You are kind.
Oh, thanks, Nate. Incredible insights and learnings for all. It will be really awesome to catch up in person one day, and really appreciate your time.
I can look forward to that. I'll come to you. You're welcome here. That's when it's not 15 degrees.
Oh, good. Thanks, Anita. All right. I hope you've enjoyed this interview. You can find me at turn-x.com, also on social media at iam.tacklee. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode. If you're enjoying this podcast, please do make sure you subscribe and take a minute to leave us a review. Thank you.
YOLO, it's our show.